was called From Idea to Innovation. And there, one of the major persons that talked about it was Josef Schumpeter. Everybody here knows Josef Schumpeter, I would suggest. But in Austria, it's not the case. Really nobody knows Josef Schumpeter. But 100 years ago, he created the word of the entrepreneurial spirit. And this is the core of what we are discussing today. One of the conclusions of the workshop was that Europe, and especially Austria, lacks the entrepreneurial spirit. So Selma, what would you say? Is that true?
First, I'm very happy and very honored to be here today. It's really a great panel of entrepreneurial spirit in Europe, or coming from Europe, and also you also sitting here. If we are talking about the entrepreneurial spirit in Europe, we are talking about you. So I can't say there is no entrepreneurial spirit. I do hope that many of you, and what we've heard already by the pitches, a lot of business ideas can really become true and develop into very successful businesses. As it was said earlier, we started IncrediblEurope in 2009 with the idea of how Europe is going to develop in the future and the innovative and creative spirit it has. And looking at the year 2049 in really on a long-term basis. And one of the conclusions at the summit we had in June was the fact that in Europe, what we're definitely missing is the failure culture. Means that most of the problems we have, and the biggest problem we have, is not the ideas, it's not the creativity. There is a lot of that we have in Europe, but the way between the idea to the business is really a long way, and it's really a hard way. So one of the things why it is happening is because people are not used to failing and then coming up. It is still seen in Europe as something that is really bad, and if you have not succeeded, then it is a problem. One of the greatest example of people that has changed that is, for example, I don't know how many of you know Martin Blunt, who invested in Skype. In the meantime, really was bankruptcy, lost everything he had. But he was one of the very few that went around and spoke about how it is and what happened and how it worked. And it's very, very, very few of people that are really talking about their failures and the problems. And in the meantime, he's already again successful, so it's not really a problem if you have the entrepreneurial spirit. One of the things about the entrepreneurial spirit is really to be able to work in an environment that is not friendly. So I would say that the spirit that you have in Europe, that you have to have here in Europe, to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be much stronger than being somewhere in the US, where everything around you is really already set up so that you can start your business. It's easy to start, it's easy to find money, it's easy to raise, it's easy to go down and up. Whereas here it is really a high burden that you have to go through. On the other hand, you have some other things that are happening and some other values that are here in Europe, which are very important to most of the entrepreneurs. As you said earlier, they are lazy, don't work as much as they do in the US. I would say they have other values. It's not just about size. You have to consider that Europe is about 75% of the European business, or money it comes from SMEs, small and medium businesses. It's not about big businesses. Europe is small, and it's about being small and beautiful at the same time. As it was said before, we need politicians. I don't think we need politicians. I think we need people, individuals, that are willing to change things and that are willing to do things and not take over the responsibility for their own lives and for their own businesses. And then I think that we will be seeing some changes, which will go into the science of this value and success, where success is not just measured by the amount of money you have and having more and more of that, but where value has a different meaning of what is success. And I think that that is the specific of this European spirit that we have here. Also, when you consider what you really export from Europe, is the lifestyle spirit. If you think about it, it comes very much from the creative side, and it comes from, if you think of fashion, if you think of design, if you think of architecture, it comes from Europe. The biggest names in the world are coming from Europe. So there is something there that is very important that we have to build upon. And I think that the combination with this technology development that we have here and that you have developed in the many cases that you have it would combine with the lifestyle and the specific values of Europe, we can have a very specific and unique positioning on the global market. And just one last statement, when we talk about Europe, we talk about 700 million people who speak more than 50 languages, and we should be one global player. We have a slight problem that we have to solve, and I think that on an individual basis, just considering what we have here, we have already a great way to start. And I would like to use this opportunity to congratulate Andreas Chas and the whole team behind Start Europe for this great incentive and the great work they have been doing. I'm absolutely proud to be able to contribute in my way to this initiative, and I hope that all of you will be, whatever you do, if you start a business, are successful or not, that you will be keep in touch with Start Europe, be an alumni of that, and kind of let this spirit, entrepreneurial spirit in Europe, in the base of Europe here grow. That's from my side for the start.
Thanks, Selma. Daniel, how is it to create a business in Europe, and what should be in your mind?
So I will actually also address some of the points she mentioned before. So fear of failure, right? So I think it was like 3 years ago, I had a glass of wine with a guy who was running a startup, and he was actually almost out of money. Actually, the cash left was like for like 30 days or something. His burn rate was like 500,000 a month, and he was completely easy about it. He was not concerned. He was not afraid. He said, "Well, either raise some money, either find some solution, or I shut down my company and do the next one." And this guy name was Chad Early, on YouTube, right? Which was like, at the edge sometimes, but he found funding and he sold it to Google eventually. And it was a great deal and a great success. If you would actually talk to a guy in Austria, knowing that there's only 30 days left of funding, he would go ballistic. He would be like, I can't concentrate on the business anymore, right? He would go to banks, he would be rejected, he would go to friends. Friends wouldn't give him money anymore because there's only 30 days left and there must be something wrong. So typically in Austria, everybody knows at least 1,000 reasons why this project will fail, right? And this is actually not good. This is a cultural issue, right? And I had the same with Jaja, right? I also tried to raise angel funding for Jaja in Austria. Then there came a guy with like a soap production company or something, and he wanted to see a 5-year business plan accurate, right? And I mean, they don't understand the spirit, right? And also the VCs here, in my opinion. Most of them, I mean, they're acting like banks. They want to see business plans, details, revenue forecasts. They're conservative, they're slow. And if you compare this to the American culture of funding, it's completely different. When we had our first discussions with Sequoia, does everybody know who Sequoia is? Sequoia Capital? Maybe a word. Sequoia Capital is one of the most successful venture capital funds in America. They did Google, Yahoo, Cisco. I mean, more or less 10% of the Nasdaq listed companies. And of course we went to them and presented our business plan, and they took the business plan and said, well, we don't need business plans. It's really a bit big, right? They didn't even want to see it. They wanted to spend time with us, wanted to see who we are, how we think. And the only thing that mattered is that they said, I want to be funded for 1 year, so that you can really concentrate on the business for a year. Don't have to bother anymore about like raising another 100,000 and reaching another milestone and raising money here and there, right? Concentrate and focus on the business. What are the costs for 1 year? Turned out to be like 3 million. We raised 3 million with those guys. And when it comes to speed, from the first contact to the final contract, it was 21 days. And 7 days later, we had the money in the bank account. Actually, we were not even able to establish the bank account in time, so the money bounced back. This is the first